Today we're going to visit Spain. We're going to do tapas. Tapas are little bites, so we're going to do two dishes today. Patatas bravas and a Spanish tortilla. For the patatas bravas, we're going to need 3 russet potatoes cut into bite-sized pieces. We're going to need a spice rub that consists of chipotle powder, paprika, onion powder, garlic powder, cumin, black pepper, and cayenne powder. All the measurements can be adjusted to your personal preference. For the sauce, we're going to need tomato paste, tomato sauce, 1 chipotle pepper, a couple sprigs of fresh thyme, and salt to taste. Now that you've gathered all your ingredients, it's time to cook. Add the potatoes to a pot of cold water. You want to start the potatoes in cold water rather than boiling water. That way they'll cook more evenly. I neglected to put this in the beginning of the video with a list of ingredients, but add about a teaspoon of salt to the water. You're going to want to cook this until the potatoes are fork tender like this. In my case, it took 12 minutes, but times will vary depending on how thick your potatoes are cut. When the potatoes have reached the fork tender state, then you can take them and drain them and set them aside. While your potatoes are cooking, you can combine all of your sauce ingredients into a saucepan and heat them up just long enough to take the raw edges off of the tomato. Because we added tomato paste here, you don't have to cook the sauce as long to get a nice depth of flavor. In a hot pan, add about 3 tablespoons of oil. To that oil, add your potatoes. Move the potatoes around to get them coated with the oil. Apparently, I was asleep when I made the list of ingredients because besides forgetting to add the salt to the water, I forgot to write down that you're going to need some oil for the potatoes. You want to mix this around to get the potatoes completely coated in the oil. Once your potatoes are completely coated, you want to add the spice mix. Add the spice mix to all the potatoes and continue to mix it around until the potatoes are completely covered with the spice mix. Now you want to let this cook for another 3-4 minutes to warm the potatoes through and also toast the spices on the potatoes. Don't forget, those spices went on the potatoes raw, so they need to toast a little bit to bring out their flavor and their oils. Keep tossing and moving everything around the pan until all of the oil has been absorbed and the spices are very fragrant. In my case, it actually took about 4 minutes to complete this process. And now that you've cooked it, it's time to serve it, eat it, and enjoy it. So once the potatoes are plated, we topped it with a little bit of the sauce, a little bit of parsley, and a little bit of green onion tops. As you can see, the potatoes are completely coated with the spice rub. When you bite into it, it's spicy. The exterior of the potato is soft, but the interior still has a little bite to it. It's perfectly cooked. You can serve it like this, or you can serve it with a little sauce on the side so your guest or yourself can dip it into it. The sauce itself is a little bit of spice because of the chipotle, but the spice is not overwhelming. These patatas bravas are the perfect little dish to serve on their own, or you can combine them with the next dish, the Spanish tortilla. The Spanish tortilla has absolutely no relationship to the Mexican tortilla. This tortilla is made simply with egg and potato. And if done properly, it'll be light and airy, as you can see here. For a Spanish tortilla, you're going to need some russet potatoes, sliced approximately a 1/4 inch thick. A little thicker, a little thinner, that's fine. Try to keep them consistent so they'll cook at the same rate. You're going to need some eggs, some olive oil, some butter, some thyme, some parsley, and some green onion tops for garnish. Depending on the size of your pan, these amounts may vary. We used an 8-inch pan here and it filled it to the top. So now that you've gathered all the ingredients, it's time to cook. So in your pan, melt butter with the olive oil and add your potatoes. Do your best to try to get the potatoes in one layer. We want to cook the potatoes here, but we also want a little browning on the potatoes. Cook the potatoes on one side for about 2.5 to 3 minutes. After about 3 minutes, you can start turning the potatoes over. As you can see, we're already getting some browning on the potatoes. You would still like to leave them alone as much as possible, but you also want to move them around just a bit to make sure they're not sticking to the pan. Occasionally continue to flip the potatoes over, and as you can see, these potatoes are browning up nicely. When your potatoes are mostly cooked through, but not to the point that they're going to fall apart, take a pastry brush and brush the sides of the pan with the butter and oil mixture. Now, once you're done with that, you can add your eggs. Allow your eggs to set up for about 30 seconds or so. And now you can start the process of lifting up the bottom, tilting the pan so the uncooked portion of the egg can go underneath the cooked portion. This would be the same technique that you would use for making an omelet. And you continue this process until the egg is almost fully cooked. Now you want the egg to sit for about 4 or 5 minutes. The side of the egg that's touching the pan is going to be your presentation side. So you want to peek underneath the pan every now and then to check to see what it looks like. You would like a nice brown color on it, but you don't want it to burn. Once you get it to the desired color, now you have a decision to make. Do you take the chance and try to flip it? Or do you use the plate method to put the plate over top of your pan and then rotate your hands to flip it over? I am the kind of cook that likes to take chances, but in this instance, I played it safe and used the plate technique. So once you flipped it over like this, now you want to slide the tortilla back into the pan. Put it back on the heat, and now you just want to cook it until the bottom of the egg is cooked, because at this point it's cooked most of the way through already. In my case, that was about 3 minutes. And now that you've cooked it, it's time to serve it, eat it, and enjoy it. And just look at how fluffy this is. No additional leavener, just the egg and the potato. When you bite into this, of course, you get the creaminess and the airiness of the egg. The crust has a slight crunch to it, and the potato still has a bite to it. It's completely cooked through, but not to the point that it's falling apart. This really was a very simple dish to make, just a few ingredients, very little technique, and it turned out very good. I hope you've enjoyed these tapas. They are just two of many tapas options out there. Thank you for watching, and we hope that you'll join us on the next part of our culinary adventure.